This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Radar, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Harriet Sansom Harris about her guest starring role on Hacks. How are you, Harriet?
I'm very well, thanks. Nice to meet you, Abe.
You too. I can't believe this is your first Emmy nomination. I was looking and I was like, that can't be right. There has to be all these other things from the past.
No, I'm pretty sure this is it.
Well, can you tell me were you a fan of Hacks before coming aboard the show for an episode?
I've been a fan of Gene's for a long time. I didn't know Hacks. And then when I got the offer and I started to watch it, I just thought, oh my gosh, this is a great show. But I just didn't have HBO. So only so many, but now I do. Now I actually do have HBO and watch it regularly. But I've spent the last 2 years, a lot of it during the pandemic in the woods in Massachusetts, and we don't have internet there. So I wasn't watching anything. So it was, and then I was in Mexico when I got the job. So I couldn't rush and watch anything there. And when I got home, I was delighted to see what a great show it was.
That's wonderful. And what was the experience of working on it like?
Oh, it was so much fun. It was really, Susan's a great part. And Gene's a great scene partner. And I didn't really I had 2 adorable little grandsons, but not a lot of interaction there. And so really the whole relationship was with Gene. And, she's just a great partner. She's not just a great actress to look at, to sort of go, oh, that's a wonderful performance. She's great to work with.
I think that's part of what makes the show work, is that it's not just her story, it's also Ava's story. And, those 2 people, obviously, right. Yeah. And Gene and Hannah are obviously at a very different point in their careers, just like Deborah and Ava. And it's nice to see them just sort of balance off of that.
Yeah, they're lovely together.
What were you able to relate to about the character of Susan, if anything?
I think everybody at some point wants to do something possibly more interesting with their lives. Like I thought about a lot of friends I had in high school that maybe were interested in acting. They've had wonderful lives, but they've decided not to do that. And I remember very clearly one of my friends that I like a lot, probably 40 years ago, said, "Are you still doing that acting thing?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, I said, "And you?" And she said, "No, I grew up." And I thought, wow, okay, I grew up too. But, she just lost interest. Other things took over. She had other agendas and other things she wanted more. So, but she was a very talented person and a very lovely person. And I don't think she was trying to hurt my feelings. She just had a different idea of what she actually wanted from life. So, and that attracted me to Susan, that she and Deb wanted the same thing for a while. And then something more important caught her eye. And she went with that.
Do you think that something as simple as, crossing off or erasing someone's name could really affect a career so substantially?
No, I think Deb thought that. But, Susan said no. Seeing your drunk kid crack her head open on the coffee table. And you didn't even respond. You didn't, you weren't really connected to your child. And she says that she just found out that she was pregnant. And I think it was very much, no matter how much I want this, to have the career, I don't want to have a damaged kid. I don't want to be that kind of mom. And I think it was just more important to her. And a lot of women are wonderful mothers and wonderful actresses, or I don't know about, but I'm sure that's true in stand-up too, but it is a rigorous life. And it appears that Deb, up until recently, has always put her career first. So that's not what Susan wanted. But I think she was, if she wasn't as talented as Deb, she was close enough that Deb saw her as a threat. So she must have been pretty talented. And but that's not, that's not what stopped her. And I think that was the interesting thing. It would not have been a very good story if it had just been, then it would have just been, I think, in like regular sitcom territory. And that's what Hacks is so much better than a lot of shows, is that it's a more complicated reason. And that way Deb actually does learn a lesson, learn something about herself, learn something about the way the world looks at her behavior, and it makes her look at it too. So it's a great story to have, kind of a bump in the road of Deb's journey. I think Susan was great for that.
Absolutely. And you're in great company in your Emmy category with 3 other actresses from Hacks, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, everybody in the category is, I think, so wonderful. And certainly Hacks has so much to be proud of. All of their nominations, it's pretty stunning. But the other actresses too, I think, are wonderful actresses.
They're all in multiple episodes. Do you like the fact that Susan is just sort of a one-shot character that we get to meet and then say goodbye to at the same time?
I don't know. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't even think about that. I don't know. Susan, I think that she shows up and she does what she's supposed to do. It's always nice to have a job where you get to go back and actually know people more and make friends with people. That's great. But to come in once and have something strong to do is also great.
Yeah, I know that over the course of your career, you've had a lot of different roles, sometimes a much more substantial recurring arc, and then something like Ratched, which was a short but memorable stint. What was it like working on that show?
Oh, I love that too. I'm almost always happy working. So if you ask me what something was like, I would probably almost always say I loved it, because I do. I love being an actress. And when you get to work with wonderful people, and Sarah, again, like Jean, Sarah is a wonderful actress. And I like the writing a lot on Ratched. And it was, the whole show was fun. So, and that too, she had a very strong point of view. I like characters that really have something to do. I'm drawn to those characters. I think it makes any scene more exciting if you're not just sitting on a porch drinking iced tea, and watching horses run by. It's beautiful to photograph, but I don't think that's not been my career.
Well, as soon as I knew I was going to be speaking with you, I thought of Ratched, and I also thought of Desperate Housewives, which that's one of the much more substantial shows. And so I won't ask you if you like working on it, because I know you did, based on what you've said. But what can you share about that experience and that character?
She was always alone. I mean, she just was always doing something bizarre, looking out the window, making lethal brownies, or something that would knock somebody out, or she was always plotting. So but the scenes where I was involved with other people, they were, again, really sweet and funny and fantastic people. And I was lucky that the writing I had was interesting too and fun. So I did enjoy that. It's when you never know if you're going to be back or not. That's the only thing that's unsettling about doing a recurring role, is that the last time she's going to be there, because they don't really say. So, but it was, it was a wonderful job, and it was a lot of fun. And I knew the crew pretty well because I was just opening jars of mayonnaise and looking out windows, and there's a lot of unscripted, without dialogue kind of stuff. So it would just be the crew and Felicia,
I know you also had the chance to play Eleanor Roosevelt in 2 different projects recently, one in a smaller role in Hollywood, but also in Atlantic Crossing.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the opportunity to play a real person like that?
She's fantastic. So yes. And when you play a real character, you really do have to research and find out about a lot about the person. You don't have to, but I think it's fun and interesting. And I've played her a number of times. I think I've played her 5 times in plays. And so she's so admirable. She's one of those people that you just think, gosh, if more Eleanor Roosevelts were born or could be, produced somehow, the world really would be a better place. And she did an awful lot. She had a lot of advantages, and she was positioned well. So there are probably a lot of people who could be Eleanor Roosevelts out there that simply don't have the positioning to be as great as she was. But nevertheless, that's not, a lot of people are well positioned and they don't really do much. So yeah, I love her. I would always want to play Eleanor Roosevelt. I don't mean to the exclusion of other things, but if it came up again, I would never say, oh, I'm sick of her. I've done it. I've seen it. She's just a great character.
Yeah, I know you were also very memorable in a small role in Licorice Pizza recently, which was
a very large head. But yes, it was a small role. But boy, was my head big. I nearly had whiplash when I saw it. I just, oh, that's a lot of me.
I think Paul Thomas Anderson has a very distinctive voice and a very distinctive style. What is it like working with him?
He's the most fun person to work with ever. And I've worked with some pretty fun people. But he's just insanely creative and talented. And I think from the limited experience I've had with him, happy to be there every day and, feeling like we get to make a movie. And a lot of people, I feel like people forget that it's exciting and it's a privilege and it's thrilling, and we get to do this stuff. And there's we're gonna have a more wonderful day than if we were doing anything else. So it's that's part of why he's so fun. And the other is that just the writing is so good. The ideas in the screenplays are so interesting. He doesn't repeat himself. I'm just a huge fan of his. Massive.
What else do you have coming up?
I have a play that I just finished working on. I have something I'm doing for Audible, and I have a miniseries coming up that I didn't even know people did miniseries, but apparently maybe it's a streaming thing. I haven't really looked at the contract. I just heard about it and I thought that sounds fun. So I said yes.
Wonderful. Well, I wish you luck on all those projects, and thank you for taking a few minutes to speak with me today.
Oh, thank you. It was very nice speaking to you and meeting you.